What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Financial Coach Jess, and I've got a very special video in store for you guys today. I'm actually interviewing one of my coaches that I worked with over the past like 6 or 7-ish months, and that is Hannah. And Hannah is from California, kind of. I'll let her tell a little bit more about her story. But her and her husband are living in California. They are originally from Idaho, and Hannah and I got connected in December of 2020. She wanted to become a financial coach. She went through my Become a Coach program, and I'm so excited to introduce her to you guys today. And we're going to be diving into some pretty tough topics. Some things that I really want to hit on are imposter syndrome, deciding on and really committing to your ideal client, and then also time management. So Hannah, I'll let you go ahead and say a little bit about yourself, and then we can dive into the questions.
Hello, thank you for having me. Yes, my name's Hannah. I'm from Idaho. My husband and I are both from Idaho, and then he's currently active duty Air Force, so we are stationed in California. And yeah, I love Jess's program, and I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, thanks again so much, Hannah, for setting aside some time. I know you guys have been super busy this summer to come on the YouTube channel and talk about your story. So the first question I want to open up with is, tell us a little bit about your journey with money, how you and your husband, got connected, and then what your journey has been like in marriage as well.
Yeah, so my husband and I are both super lucky. We grew up with parents who taught us how to use money from a young age. So coming into marriage, we were both actually pretty skilled with our money. We knew how to save, how to spend wisely, and all that. And we're really grateful for that. But then obviously coming into this new situation, it was like a shock
Mm-hmm.
of like, oh my goodness, like nobody else knows how to manage money. Like this is crazy. So that's definitely like almost like culture shock because we grew up, pretty conservative. You work hard for your money and you like spend within your means and all these things. To then like seeing other people who like did not do that at all and like did not grow up with that kind of mindset. To me, is really just like this opportunity to be able to like come alongside them, like, hey, we're young, we're like, we understand the position you're in, but like, let me show you a different way. Like, let me show you the like, you don't have to struggle, you don't have to be angry, and you can get on the same page and you can have like this really happy life, even if you're not like the richest person in the room. That doesn't matter. It's just about like getting organized and like getting on the same page and kind of figuring out your goals and working together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's amazing too. Like you are in their shoes. You're not like this, older, more seasoned mentor who's like, hey, like, let me show you how to do it. You're like, no, I'm living it like right
Yeah.
now, like I am a testimony that this is possible. So when we started working together, you got into the Become a Coach program. One of the very first things that we focused on was your ideal client. So tell me a little bit about your ideal client, if it's evolved a little bit since we've been working together.
Yeah, and I think it totally has. So my ideal client now would be like a young woman wanting to break away from that norm, or young couple wanting to kind of step away. I think young people, especially, are like notorious for making bad decisions, like just being really naive and like impulsive, and just be like, I'm just gonna do whatever I want because I want to. But really, like kind of taking charge and like showing like you can plan ahead for your future and still enjoy the present. You can be really wise in the decision you make as a young person and like set yourself up for this amazing life of success without sacrificing your present. Like you don't have to live miserably and like never go out and never do anything fun just to save money, but you're also not forgetting about the future and you're not putting it off. You're planning for everything. So I just think, like, to me, like that's my ideal client, like teaching that to other young people. A lot of them are military spouses because that's just the community we're in right now.
Hmm.
That's not really like, you don't have to be a military spouse. It's just anyone in that position.
Hmm. Yeah. And that's what really stuck out to me when we started talking about what circles you were in. Because your husband is in the military. So you guys are on a base currently
Yeah.
still. So you
Yeah.
guys are on a base. So yeah, that's very much the world that you're in. Those are the people that you're talking to. So how was it narrowing down in the very beginning, at least, your ideal client to military spouses? Was that intimidating? What was that process like?
Yeah, well, it was definitely a process. And I think this is where the course came in, like the Become a Coach program was so beneficial of like kind of weeding out the things that maybe weren't going to be the best fit. And even working with the beta clients, I think that was so huge to me because I remember when we were working, there was a couple people that I came back and I was like, those were not the
Yeah.
best fit. But then
Mm-hmm.
there were a couple that I was like, I had like an amazing time working with these people and they got amazing results. So kind of going through
Mm-hmm.
that and realizing like it's a process. You're not going to just sit down one day and be like, this is my ideal client. It's perfect. Um,
Yeah.
it's going to take a little bit of trial and error and like working with different people and different personalities and kind of figuring out like people buy from people. So obviously you're not going to be the best fit for everyone, but the more people you work with, the more you'll kind of see who you do well with and who you can help in like the most effective way and
Yeah.
kind of creating that into your ideal client.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you had a very exciting beta client announcement, right? Because you announced in a couple of Facebook groups, and I remember you were like messaging me, you're like, I think my beta clients, container's full. Like, what do I do? Do I cut people off? And I'm so proud of you for, having a couple of those sessions with people who weren't necessarily a good fit and not being like, I have failed. I'm a terrible coach. Like, is this even for me? Like, you didn't let those doubts get in your head because we were really working on like, okay, the purpose of beta clients is to determine who you really enjoy working with, who you're going to benefit the most in their personal finance journey, and then who's not a good fit and who you can refer to other people. And so I'm so proud of you for like really taking on that mindset in the process, because you're exactly right. I mean, everyone that you work with, when you work with beta clients, is not going to be a perfect fit. So going in with that mindset was really, really important for sure. And so what were some of the things, so when you're looking at military spouses, how did you, like, what made this ideal client different from, let's just say, if you're like, I'm just working, generally with women, like that's why I see a lot of financial coaches do, like they're like, I'm working with women, and your messaging and your blog and your content was very, very precisely driven toward military
Mhm.
spouses. How do you think that helped you? And, what did that look like to really narrow it down, your content, at least that
Yeah,
way?
I think it's really important in being clear because like the thought of a confused buyer will never buy.
Mm-hmm.
So then if your content is not clear to who you want to work with, who your ideal client is, then obviously like people are just going to get confused and never buy from you. So just kind of paying attention, like having conversations like we did in like the initial research of like just kind of seeing like what people's struggles are and like what the biggest issues are with the military, and just like kind of focusing in on that of like a lot of people in the military like really struggle with the like unknowns because everything's changing, nothing's certain, and like the finance office is a disaster for
Mm-hmm.
so many people. And so then it just creates a lot of fear and uncertainty and frustration, and people are living paycheck to paycheck and just all this crazy stuff. That's kind of, some of it applies to like regular civilian life, but others like the finance office, like if they mess up your pay, to get a hold of them, especially like
Mm-hmm.
after COVID, is crazy. People go like months and months and months before they get reimbursed. So it's just kind of like a different atmosphere, I guess, a little different than like if at a normal job they messed up your pay, you would just walk into the office next day and be like, hey, where's my money? But
Yeah.
it's not necessarily the same with military. So just kind of understanding that it's different and really focusing in on like, hey, like I'm a military wife too, like I get it, they've messed up my like our pay before too. And I can't go into the office and fix it for you, but I can tell you like how to prepare
Mm-hmm.
and how to be ready for unexpected expenses, so you're not relying on that money, you're not living paycheck to paycheck, you have yourself set up so that there's not this extra burden and fear surrounding your money. So
Yeah, absolutely. And
that,
having someone in the same shoes, like you said,
yeah.
I've had this happen to me before. Here's what you do to make it right. That is so, so huge. And it's so great that you started with such a specific ideal client. And as you've grown the business and, your content and your coaching is always evolving, you're able to expand upon that and include, other ideal clients as well too. So imposter syndrome, let's shift gears a little bit. how does imposter syndrome show up for you, and what have you done specifically to overcome it?
I think for me, it really shows up in the highs and lows. So like entrepreneurship is full of highs and lows. And since we've been so busy, of like coming and going on trips and vacations and seeing family and like all these things, um, there are times where I haven't been as consistent. And so then in those times where I'm like not as consistent, maybe I'm not working with anyone at that moment, it's easy to kind of be like, am I even like supposed to be doing this? Or like, I'm even qualified to be doing this? Um, so I think it really helps me to go back and look at those testimonials that I have and kind of like as a reminder, like you have helped people. I can do this. I am capable. I am qualified. And then two, like looking back at like my mission statement for my business and like kind of grounding myself in like my purpose and like I started this business for a reason. And yeah, not every day is going to be perfect, and that's okay. That's part of running a business, but just having that like kind of center of like there's a reason I'm doing this and there's a reason and a purpose to like stick it through the hard days because then there will be highs that are coming.
Oh my goodness, the roller coaster life of
Hmm.
entrepreneurship. Like you said, I mean, going back, having those testimonials, having those really positive experiences and reflecting on those and focusing on those, because yeah, you're going to get people that leave really negative comments. You're going to have days where maybe you don't have any clients that you're working with currently. Maybe it's a busy season of life. I mean, there's just so many variables, it's not just a
Hmm.
straight trajectory upward. And that's so, so important to remember, because when it's not a straight trajectory upward, imposter syndrome is going to creep in. And yeah, it's going to tell you like, maybe this is over. Like maybe you just got lucky a couple times and that
Hmm.
was all you got. But that's so good. Having those habits and things where you can really ground yourself and tell yourself those truths over and
Yeah.
over again is so important for sure.
Hmm.
Imposter syndrome advice, anything else you can think of in terms of imposter syndrome for other coaches that are watching this? That's like the number one question or just like struggle that I hear from
Yeah.
prospective coaches. Any other thoughts on that?
I would say keep going. That's something actually I remember when I first started, I wasn't even like sad or anything. I just like mentioned like, yeah, this is what I'm doing, like to my dad actually in a text message. And all he responded with like, just keep going. Like uh, your business isn't going to be perfect overnight and you're not going to have this perfect, like everything's going well. It's all about like, just keep going, like just keep swimming. Because like, that's why I think so many business owners fail, especially like service-based business. Um, it's not because they weren't capable and it's not because they were bad at business. It's just because they gave up. They walked away too soon. So like kind of being able to just sit with it, like it's not perfect right now and that's okay. I'm learning every day. I'm getting better every day. And just kind of remembering like just keep going. Like every day is better and like you build upon yourself. Like you'll look back
Mhm.
and be like, oh my gosh, I've done all this amazing things like for so many different people. Um, because you kept going, because you didn't walk away.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you quit when it gets hard, you will last until day two, maybe,
Yeah.
day three. And I remember when your dad had messaged you and was so encouraging. And I think that's another great tip from what you just said too, is like get that support system around you, like whoever that looks like for you. Find those people, find those other either entrepreneurs or family
Mhm.
members or, spouse, friends, whatever, that support system. And then, yeah, just keep going, like keep fighting for it if it's something that you really want to do, and help other people change their life too, which I know you have as well. That's great advice for sure. So let's talk about the Become a Coach program and kind of like time management. So we've talked a little bit about like some of the market research that you did to
Mhm.
find your ideal client, working with beta clients. What made you pull the trigger on Become a Coach and really invest in the program?
Yeah, so I was actually looking into Dave Ramsey's Become a Coach program because as I said before, had like seen this crazy need and like saw my opportunity for becoming a coach. And then I found Jess's video on become like Dave Ramsey's Become a Coach program, like her review of it. And I watched it. And after watching it, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to have the same issues with it she did. I don't want to spend my money on this. So then I started watching more of your videos and I was like, wow, like I really agree with a lot she has to say. I saw I really aligned mindset wise. And so then I saw she had her own program. I think it was 2 days later. I was like, I'm signing up. I talked to my husband about it and he was like, yeah, go for it. If you think like you could do it, it's going to be great. Like my husband's very supportive.
Hmm.
So I signed up, yeah, very quickly. And I'm
Yeah.
so glad I did.
Yeah, and the rest is history. You
Yeah.
did. You signed up so quick. You were like, I just found your, FCMT review a couple days ago, and like I'm in. Let's go. I was like, oh wow, this is so fun. And it was so evident from the beginning. Like you did. You watched a couple videos. Our mindsets were so aligned. We just agreed on so much, and it was really a seamless transition, I think, to working with
Mhm.
you and having you in the program. So it was so much fun. What was the most challenging part of the program, or really just the process of like starting your own financial coaching business?
I think there's a lot of behind the scenes work that like you don't really think about, and like how much you do have to show up. And it's scary, especially like on social media. Like if you're not used to posting regularly or like showing your face and stuff, um, it can be very scary, very intimidating, but just kind of doing it. Like you have to do it. If you want to get clients, you have to show up, you have to be real and like show that you're a person and show how you can help them. So I think that was definitely challenging, just like the amount of work initially, like building the website and all of that, but then coming out of it and like having it broken down into like each week or like each step by step process helped a lot. And then just having the accountability too.
Yeah. And what was the most valuable thing that you learned from the program? I know it's kind of all like it all bleeds into itself,
Mhm.
like it's not really start and stop, but since it built on itself, was there anything that really stuck out to you as just like something valuable that you still use today?
Like the whole program, but like specifically like the lead generation funnels and like kind of like the really the behind the scenes of like how to set up these different processes. I think a lot of entrepreneurs and like coaches, like including myself, like we're very creative or like the idealistic, like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting, I'm gonna do all these amazing things. But you kind of forget or like don't know how to do like the detailed work that like is still necessary, like setting up a webinar and like getting emails and like all these things. That's super important and you can't forget about it. But sometimes it's easy to kind of just want to skip past that. So I think having the course um, kind of lay it out in a really understandable way. And then too, like since you have lifetime access, like anytime you want to change up something or do something, you can just go back and review like, how do I do this again? Or how did I set this up? Or what's a good way to do this? Or like even like the email sequences for welcoming new clients and all that stuff. I think it's just so valuable to have, like, because you could just hold on to it, like tuck it away forever to help you in your
Mhm.
business.
Yeah, one of my favorite features is like seeing you and some other coaches that have already gone through the program. Like you guys are still in the community, like welcoming new coaches and
Mm-hmm.
like giving your feedback too. And so that's really special to me that it's like, yeah, you guys are still like working with people, you're still growing your own business, and you're still even pouring into other people that are becoming financial coaches as well, which is like so cool to me just to see you guys inspire them as well.
Yeah.
So time management, like thinking about time management, that's another big thing that I see prospective financial coaches worry about because they're working full time, or they've got kids, or they've got this or that. And I was like, Hannah is going to be perfect to talk to this about, because I feel like when we were coaching, your schedule was maxed out like constantly, and
Yeah.
yet you still got everything done throughout the entire program. So what is the secret to time management? What made the biggest difference for you?
So actually somebody said this to me recently and I absolutely loved it. And it's have a routine, not a schedule. And I think especially for me, like people who are planners, it's really easy to like as soon as your schedule gets messed up, your whole day just goes out the window and everything's ruined and you get nothing done because your schedule got messed up. But especially like military life and just being busy, like of course your schedule is always going to get messed up. Something's always going to happen, especially if you have kids or just things going on. So if you have more like a routine, just kind of like a way of doing things and not like specific timelines, um, that really helps. And then two, just being really organized. So, like I would usually set aside 2 or 3 days a week for my school specifically, and then the other 2 or 3 days of the week for my business, like exclusively. Um, And then weekends, always take off weekends, because I feel like you need that break, you need that rest, so you don't burn out. So I think just kind of being really organized, like different things work better for different people. And like, if you're a morning person, get up really early and do things in the morning. If you're an evening person, do things late at night. So like the same schedule and the same routine is not going to work for everybody, but like you can find what works for you. And like that's what I've done. Like I'm much more of a morning person and I'm not a good evening person. So I need to get all my important things done in the morning or it's probably not going to happen. Um, but again, it doesn't have to be like a set schedule, just kind of like a general like to-do list of like, this is what needs to be done today. When can I get it done? Or like, this needs to be done this week. When can I get it done?
Mm-hmm. That's so good. A routine. I love that, a routine instead of a schedule, because yeah, when the schedule gets thrown off or whatever, it can be very frustrating. And then organization, that is so
Mhm.
important as well. And I think as financial coaches, we are a little bit more predisposed to being organized. And so just taking that skill and applying it to our time,
Yes.
sometimes people maybe don't make that connection, but take that skill you already have with money and just apply it to your time, and then
Mhm.
get that routine, make those habits and organizing your time. I like what you said, like a couple of days on schoolwork, a couple of days on the business, and just having that focus on that specific thing, I think definitely really helps too.
Yeah.
Great advice. I love that. And okay, so let's wrap up here. What are you working on right now? So what is the best way for my subscribers to contact you, get in touch with you, follow you? What do you have going on?
Well, I just revamped my course a little bit. I added a lot of like life, relationship, and career stuff because I just feel like money is so big in your whole life, and especially for young people. And like my mission of empowering these young people to make really wise decisions and just be really capable with their money. So I that's what I've been working on kind of behind the scenes, which has been really fun.
That's so
Um,
exciting. So you said career, like career
yeah,
readiness or
yeah, or
switching
just kind
careers?
of getting your financial goals in line with your career. If you
Mm,
want to make like $100,000 a year, but you're working at McDonald's, like maybe some change needs to
yeah.
happen. Or
Yeah.
you want all this freedom, but you like your job does not give you that freedom. So just kind of finding like what's important to you, what kind of lifestyle you want to live, what your skills are, and like what career is going to fit you the best with that and get you the financial goals or help you reach your financial goals. And then just how much money affects your relationships and how important it is to get your money under control and be able to talk about money in your relationships effectively and efficiently. And even just in your life, like money is so huge.
Mm-hmm.
So I think people underestimate how much of an impact it has on their lives as a whole. And there's just horrible like mindset and habits and patterns. But if you correct those as a young adult, then you never have to worry about waking up one day in a pile of debt because you made the right decision from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like the whole course is called Young Wealth. And that's also my website is hannahbutlerfc.com. And I have the Young Wealth blog there. So people can find me there. They can subscribe to that. And then also Instagram is my most used like social media platform. So you can follow me there. I'm sure you have all the links in the like
Yes.
description
Yeah.
box and
I'll put
everything
all the
else.
links
So
down there. Mm-hmm.
yeah, you can reach me at my website or Instagram probably are the best places.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Awesome. Well, I know people are going to want to connect with you and creep on you. And just thank you so much for coming on. And just, it's so good to see you just like glowing and thriving.
Well, thanks.
And yeah, people are just going to be so drawn to you and like want to know more about your story and what you offer and what all you've got going on too. So thank you so much. And don't forget, guys, if you got value here today, if you like this video, don't forget to actually like this video and subscribe to my channel for future videos. And I'll see you in the next one.